Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV, and I'm joined by the bald, beautiful beast that is Bernard Blumenegg Deneen. How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm all right, mate. I'm fucking looking quite good today on the screen. Actually, I looked
Actually,
at my reflection last night in the coach window when I was coming home, and I thought, God, you're looking old, mate. But I think I look all right today. Actually,
well, trust me, someone said
must
one
be
of the
good
kids.
lighting.
Yeah, I was at school a couple of days ago. One of the kids said you look tired, and well, the thing is, I figured out I've done about nearly 2,000 miles in the last week. Certainly not
I'm
enough sleep.
fitter. I'm fitter having walked up those stairs at St James's Park.
Newcastle
So
Stadium.
I'll tell you what, I stood at the top watching the guys coming up, and there were some young lads blowing more than I was blowing when I got to the top. Anyway,
All right, we're going to get into this video because we're going to talk about somebody who played in the game against Newcastle and, quite frankly, disappointed. And he's, in my opinion, disappointed all season. And that's Jack Grealish. Now, I think this season already, we've done, I think, 2 videos on Jack Grealish about him not offering enough. And we're there again. You know, we saw the game against Newcastle, and yes, it was he's coming back from injury and all that, but he didn't show anything again in that attacking third. Pep said it before. He said, you know, that he's not brilliant in that final third. The defensive side is good, but at some point we need Jack to be doing something in the attacking third, whether that's scoring goals, having creating chances, having assists. But he's not doing any of that right now. Are you frustrated with his performances of late?
I was last night because I thought it'd be even if he knackered himself out by being absolutely on it for 60 minutes and having to be dragged off because he's coming back from injury. I just expected more last night. You know, I thought sat there watching old Doku perform. I thought Jack had, you know, he's got. We know, I do. You know, we all love Jack for who he is.
Yeah.
But we all want him to succeed. But he just last night was more of the same. It was just more of the same. You know, just not losing it. I don't give him credit. I don't. You know, there's plenty of City players lost it last night. Pastor made the wrong decision, underplayed a pass, overplayed a pass, etc., etc. I don't think you can say Jack did that so much. And even in the second half, there was one moment where he actually cut in, ready to. Well, he's going to have a shot. And it's just straight at Pope. I mean, he didn't even have to. You know, he didn't have to bat. He just didn't have to move. He just literally hit him in the midriff, and he just caught it and waited about 2 minutes afterwards before he kicked it out. But that's Pope. But you know, that was disappointing for me. That was probably about halfway through the second half. The first half, all right, he's in a team that didn't really. We had control, but we didn't look as though we had a couple of chances, but I don't think Jack was involved particularly in those couple of chances, 2 or 3 chances we had. I don't remember. I saw more of him in the second half when he was attacking at our end.
Yeah.
But on the other end, it was difficult to see who was
miles away.
I couldn't figure out Lewis and Bob. I didn't know which one was which from my eyesight. I couldn't see a flipping thing. But I do. You can tell Jack. I mean, I could tell Jack even in the distance, and it was disappointing. And they say he didn't have the greatest first half, even though we're in control. In the second half, it's just more of the same. He didn't lose it. You know, as I said, Pep probably tells him not to lose it, but you'd think he might have took a bit more chance last night. Yeah. You know, and he didn't. He just seemed to be the same old Jack, and it didn't quite work. He was one of the most experienced players on the pitch, and unfortunately, he didn't really look like one of the most experienced. He got outshone, didn't he, by a couple of the younger players?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to pick up on a point you mentioned earlier. The fact that Doku's turned up at City, he's hit the ground running, he's exciting, he's producing. You know, there was that moment when he came and he started on the right against Newcastle in that second half when he came on as a sub. He didn't get much of the ball, which was a shame. When he switched to the left, Jack came in more into central. Doku got the ball. It was electric. You know, there was one cracking run that he did. Some of the other passes to him weren't great, but there was one fantastic run that I can remember where he turned his player around the halfway
line.
Yeah, and it was just like, wow, I didn't expect him to do that. And when you mentioned it to me once before, you know, maybe Pep will have kittens that Doku's doing stuff like this in his own half, but he's got the confidence, the ability, the skill to pull it off, and he's pulling it off. And he'll make mistakes, and I'm sure people will criticize him, but I'm seeing fewer of those mistakes. I'm seeing some good decision making from him, and he's dangerous. And I thought, seeing that, Jack would respond because he knows now his position is under threat. If you've got Foden, Alvarez, Haaland, Rodri, Nunes, Kovacic, that's enough not to even have Doku or Jack. And then, so Jack is then looking and saying, hang on, I'm competing against Doku. I've got to up my game. And I just don't think he's up to his game. And people will turn around and say, oh, he's just come back from injury and all that. But I'm not buying that. He's not injured. It's the same kind of negative performance that we've seen before. And I'm not having a go. I'm not saying I'm going to go at him or his price tag or anything like that. But he's got to be seriously looking over his shoulder.
When you thought last night, obviously, because Gomez ended up playing on the right, and obviously you had Oscar Bob, etc. Wouldn't you thought Pep might have played him in a more central number 10 position, a more central position? I was a bit surprised because Gomez was quite good at that overlapping thing on the left hand side. I mean, all right, looking at the personnel, the inexperience there, but. Of course, I've been seeing a lot on social media today. Jack is not a natural winger, blah blah blah, all this sort of thing. So you think, well, all right, then you got Gomez on the left, Oscar Bob on the right, something like, and put Jack more as a number 10 and more in the middle. And yet Pep didn't. He just played him in that standard position, and that just seemed a little bit odd to me as well, where Pep played him.
Yeah, I mean, I also thought it was interesting that Doku didn't start. Which kind of makes
me think. Doku in my starting 11. I thought because he was took off the other day, and he should be fit as a flea still. I don't buy this word about getting injured. You can get injured walking down the stairs at home, in his apartment or whatever. I was really surprised Doku didn't start the game, as you said. I mean,
I thought he'd start. Doku would. Because he is dangerous and he would have caused a lot of
I think he probably just wanted to give Jack that time on, from the injury, didn't he? I suppose that was probably the overriding decision.
But it also kind of tells me that Doku will be starting against Wolves.
Oh yeah,
and Jack won't.
Yeah, I mean, I've not put Grealish in the Wolves team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that and thinking Doku on the left. I don't know who's going to be on the right, but Foden's got to start for me. Alvarez has got to start, and Haaland's got to start. And Doku's got to start. So those four, and then you got your defensive midfielders in whoever it's going to be, Kovacic and one other.
Yeah.
Let's say Kovacic and Nunes. Where does that leave Jack? And do you think Jack? All right, I'm not stupid enough to say has he got a future at City because he's too good a player not to bounce back because we've seen that in the past where players bounce back after being dropped. How much harder is he going to have to work to get back into that starting 11? Because, and we're also talking about a time where Bernardo's injured, KDB's injured. When those guys are back, what chance has Jack got of being in? If he's struggling to get into a side at the moment, what's his future? All right, I said I wasn't stupid enough to ask. I am stupid enough to ask. What is Jack Grealish's future?
I mean, he's got credit now. He's got credit at the moment with City fans, but everyone was getting on his back, and now all of a sudden he's become everyone's sticking up for him. But they're sticking up for him now probably at the wrong time, where he's in trouble. In the same way Aki is. In some way, Aki's in trouble now with the arrival of Gvardiol. Aki was one of our first names on the sheet, and now he could. I thought he played very well against Newcastle. He did very well for one of the senior players. But Grealish, with the arrival of Doku, and as you said, the midfielders who can do a job, he's might struggle. He's going to struggle unless he actually starts performing and actually, creating. And this is the thing, creating. He performs. He does what Pep wants him to do. He doesn't lose the ball much. He wins us the odd free kick. He riles the opponent's fans up, etc., which is all well and good. But yeah, him and people like Aki, this season, even though we've got a very small squad, as you said there, we've got injuries now and they're still struggling to get a game, or they will be struggling to get a game over the next few weeks.
I'll give you an example as we wind this down, but let's say John Stones is fit and he's playing alongside Rodri. Okay, so let's say we've got three at the back. goalkeeper, John Stones, Rodri. That's 6 players. We've got 5 spaces. Haaland's going to play up front. Bernardo plays on the right when he's back. Foden plays because he's playing well. Alvarez should be playing. I've not even mentioned Nunes yet. And Doku. And Jack, for me, is behind them all. And even right now, you could have Kovacic. Did I mention Kovacic? No, I didn't mention Kovacic either. So, when Bernardo's back and John Stones is back, there's a huge problem because our midfield, we've got tons of midfielders, and Jack is not the best on the left at the moment.
Jack needed to perform against Newcastle, and whatever anyone says, he didn't. He may have done the basics, but he didn't. He didn't put himself, up. But don't, Pep, I'm here. Don't drop me because I'm, he just didn't do it, and he needed to. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him, and perhaps that's part why I didn't. I don't know. It might have been the pressure. He probably knows it. I mean, we're not stupid. What we say, they know as well. They're not daft, are they? Of course they're not. They've got common sense. They know themselves.
But he must know it. But he didn't show it.
No, but perhaps that's because he was a little bit wary of it as well. But to me and you would say, right, we'll go for it and take the chance. But hey, it's not like that, is it?
Last point. Do you think he's got in his a mindset now where he feels he cannot afford to make a mistake? And because of that, he doesn't take the risks?
Well, I would say based on last night, based on the Newcastle game, yes, I would say so. But for me, the fact that he has got credit in the bank now with the fans, which he's never really had, he should be just taking that decision. But obviously he's not. As I said, Pep tells him to do certain things, and we know he plays to a certain way. And if Pep's happy, fair enough. But will he be happy? I'm not too sure.
Jack was one of our senior players last night, and he showed nothing. So he didn't grab the game by the scruff of the neck. He did nothing in an attacking sense, and that shot was woeful.
Well, that was it, wasn't it? I can't remember him doing anything. Even assists. All right, we didn't have many. He didn't exactly have loads of target men to aim for, did we? I think he was involved in one of the good moves. I remember rightly. Grealish, Bob, and I think Kovacic were involved in one where we should have scored really, but. Yeah, it just not enough. Just not enough consistently last night. Just going back, and to me, the people like Bob and Lewis, even though they did a similar thing where they were kept hold of the ball and they kept it moving, kept hold of the ball. They did it in a more dynamic way, perhaps, than Jack did.
Well, I think that they enhanced their reputation last night. And they're developing, and Jack sadly isn't. So. Well, there you go, guys. It's a bit of a worry for Jack. He's got to pull his finger out. He's got to perform. He's got a lot of competition now, and like other players, there are certain players who walk into the side, like KDB, like Haaland, and there's others who are fighting for the same spots. And you've got to pull up trees now, because when 1 or 2 more players are back, even though it's a small squad, there's a lot of midfielders, a lot of versatility. And people can do many different positions. And Jack is just basically stood out on the left. And if he's fighting against Doku, that's a losing battle the way he's going at the moment. So he's going to have to look at the end of the day. I want what's best for Manchester City. And if that's Doku rather than Jack, so be it. I take whoever's the best, whoever's going to give the best performances, whoever's going to give the best results and help Manchester City win football matches. And if that's Jeremy Doku, if that's Sergio Gomez, don't care. It's whoever comes in and does the business. And Jack has got to pull his, I don't think he's going to watch this, but he's got to pull his finger out if he wants a long-term future at City. There, I'm going to go and say it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to try and get to 10,000 before Christmas. 10,000 subscribers. That's would be a huge milestone for the channel. And it'd be fantastic if you can join our little merry band of subscribers. See you around, Blues.